Whether you're a brand new live streamer, have been live streaming for years, or maybe considering live streaming, you may want to know what the impact on your YouTube channel is. Now, there's a bunch of information out there that just isn't true. So we're going to break down all of the myths and the truths about live streaming on YouTube today here on The Boost by vidIQ. Jen, live streaming is one of the funnest things you can do. We do it here every week on the vidIQ channel. What do you think about live streaming?
Just generally speaking, is a great community tool. In terms of growing your channel, I wouldn't say it's the most discoverable tactic that I would suggest, but I think it's a huge community building tool. Is definitely how I would define live streaming.
Yeah, it's great. And there's a lot of myths out there about the fact that live streaming can hurt your YouTube channel. Have you heard those before?
No, Travis, I have not heard about live streaming hurting your channel. Tell me more, Travis.
Well, one of the things that used to happen is we would see people live streaming and then the overall views on their channel during the course of a month would go down. But that isn't necessarily a bug within YouTube. It's just the way YouTube actually suggests content after it sees what people like on your channel. I think one of the things that's really important to know here is that YouTube really pays attention to the viewer and what their habits are. If you live stream a lot and then you put out produced content, you might find that your live streams get more views than your produced content. I think most people who don't live stream a lot, you're going to see that the views on your produced content get more views than the views on your live stream. And it doesn't mean that the live stream is actually hurting your main channel. It just means that that's what people like from your channel.
I think that can definitely be normal depending on your content. I mean, different spaces on YouTube look different for every creator. I mean, I feel like this is true and this is fair to say. It's just dependent.
You'll see tons of channels here on YouTube that are just live streaming channels, and they grow and they get thousands of people to watch their videos even after the case. Now, there's different ways of doing this, and we'll talk about one of those right now. If you want your live streams to get tons of views, the easiest thing to do is to make sure it is something that people after the fact can watch, because if you don't have 10,000 people watching concurrently, which most people don't, you're going to want your video to stand out just as if it's a produced video. That means making a great thumbnail for your live stream and making sure that as soon as someone clicks play on a live stream after it's done, gets right into the content. That means perhaps going in after the fact and trimming out some of the intro and maybe the countdowns you have in your live stream so that when someone clicks on the VOD, the video on demand, they'll get right into the action.
I think the most important thing I would suggest with this in mind is to treat this like it is a video. Have a plan going into it, have a title, have a thumbnail option. You're just kind of recording it differently, but you still want to make it feel like it is a video for someone who's watching after the fact. And while it might be more casual, it might be a little bit more slowed down, you want to stay on point and you want it to feel like it's why someone clicked in to watch it.
Ultimately, if you want people to watch your video live streams after the fact, video on demand, you need to put it in a packaging that makes it seem like it's a regular video, which means having a really good thumbnail and of course a really good intro. So sometimes what you can do in your live streams is after you get people in and they're watching, you can record your intro just by saying it in the live stream. Something like I'm going to do right now. Hey everyone, welcome to the new video. Today we're going to play the best Fortnite you've ever seen, but I might be 5 minutes into the live stream. Now, there's other aspects of this that I think are really interesting. How does YouTube look at the live streams when they're considered content on your channel? We had a chance to talk to Todd Brupre, who actually works at YouTube on the YouTube algorithm, and here's some of the things he had to say.
There are some differences in live streams. I would say on a foundational level, the principles of personalization and satisfaction and performance and all those things are similar. So there's a lot of shared things between live and non-live, but we have some custom elements of live that reflect some of the differences in live. So for example, we know with a live stream that if we don't get the notification out there while it's live, you're not going to be able to participate in the chat and all that stuff. So there is a bit more of a recognition of kind of the timeliness of the notification. And, this doesn't affect like the bell notifications where if you're opted into all notifications for a channel, we aim to get those out within 5 minutes, regardless of whether it's a live video or not. For the ones where the user hasn't said that they want every notification on the channel, we can kind of take our time a bit more with the non-live content. There's also features that we've built around live where we may promote an upcoming live stream. So if you've scheduled a live stream, we will recommend sometimes to folks that, hey, here's an upcoming live stream. You can actually say, notify me when this goes live. So that's another thing that is specific to live and premieres. And then there's other elements of live where it's just kind of a little bit of a different problem because like with non-live uploads, it's very easy for us to calculate like percent watched because we know how long the video is. But while a live stream is being streamed, we don't know how long it's going to be. And so trying to like know what percentage of the video are they watching is kind of handled differently for live because we we don't really know it. And then I would say whether we are actually building in logic to recognize these differences or not, the system can learn different patterns for live. If there's certain factors that are input to like predicting click-through rate or predicting watch time, and it's the same factors for both live and non-live, we may see that the information we have about a user or the data around live is just different and the patterns are different. And then the system can learn those differences. So for example, if our ultimate goal is to keep people coming back to YouTube over the long run, we might learn that in the live context, maybe click-through rate is not as important as it is in the VOD context. Or we might learn that for gaming VODs, click-through rate is important, but for music VODs, it isn't, or something like that. The algorithms have the ability to kind of auto-tune different factors such that depending on the context, they could have different weights, and that optimizes for the long term. So even if we're not kind of actively going in there and saying, hey, let's treat live differently and code something in there, we can code things that enable the system to learn patterns differently. And so it could end up treating it differently, even if there's not an explicit direction coming from YouTube about that, where it learns what to do based on what's best for the long run.
So that means the YouTube algorithm AI that watches your content, yes, it actually watches your content.
He sees everything.
Understands what people are engaging with the most, whether it be live streams as they're live, after the fact, what parts. It's super smart. So that means that, yeah, live streams will not hurt your channel because YouTube understands how the viewer is viewing your content.
This is exactly one of those moments where we can talk about how smart and fine-tuned the algorithm is at this point. I mean, it knows what you want to watch more than you know what you want to watch. It's suggesting better things than you would search. The algorithm's come a long way. It's got its stuff together.
I thought it was really interesting the way he said the AI actually understands patterns of viewers, which means just because you put out a live stream and it doesn't get a good click-through rate, it doesn't necessarily matter because it understands that certain people will interact with that content later on. Another interesting thing he said was something about the average view duration not being taken as much into consideration. This is interesting because while it's live, there's no way to know how long it's going to be, right? If someone jumps into the middle of the live stream and they watch 5 minutes, the end of the live stream might be coming up literally 2 minutes after. So you can't say that the 5-minute duration was bad, especially if it was at the end. It was all there ever was. That's really interesting that the AI has figured that out. So how can you use live streams to grow your channel? Well, here's a couple of ideas.
Having content that is super long, like a live stream, it's a perfect opportunity to cut down some of that content and have it be shorter, more digestible content for maybe new viewers that don't want to dedicate that amount of time when they don't even know you. So this is definitely a strategy. I would test it out, making sure that when you do pull out those segments, they do feel complete. They do feel like they're a whole topic and an enjoyable video. We don't want to have it feel incomplete and not have satisfied viewer.
Another thing you can do is actually trim the video. I kind of talked about this earlier in the video by using the in-studio editor where you can clip off the beginning and maybe clip off the end and make it seem like more of an actual video. So all that countdown stuff you do for a live stream, when someone comes back to your channel after the video is live, they don't have to wait for a countdown because it's not live anymore. Of course, there's tons of clip channels out there that do this all the time, so you can see this is actually a really good strategy. So adding live streams to your channel can be a great way to grow. And one other thing, if you're looking to try to get to monetization, it is a fantastic way to get those watch hours because people are hanging out for a lot longer than a produced video. I mean, listen, hang out for an hour and you got a bunch of watch time hours built up. But what if you want your live streams to be found earlier? Of course, ranking in search would be a great way to do that. We have a video right here that'll tell you how to rank in search in the best possible way. And we'll see you in the next one.